Does an evangelical born-again Christian have to be a Republican? Tackle that question and more with Coffee with Pastor Bob. With Heaven's Metal Vodcast today. Here I am sitting here in the cat house on a rainy day with one of the best t-shirts I've ever had, the Heaven's Metal Magazine 40th Anniversary shirt. It's got the Demon Hunter cover on the back, striper cover on the front. It's awesome. It's printed real soft and everything, but this isn't a t-shirt commercial. But if you buy a shirt in the month of February, you get any back issue of HM Magazine or the Heaven's Metal fanzine free. Just go shopping, write down the number of the issue that you want included with your t-shirt, and I'll include it when I ship the shirt out. Ship the shirt out, ship the shirt out, ship the shirt out. I can say that fast. Doesn't that mean I get a prize? Anyway, I said Heaven's Metal fanzine and HM Magazine. So you know that the Heaven's Metal Magazine 40th Anniversary is not included. One, because we're sold out of the summer issue, and I've only got like 18 of the Christmas issue left. So those are excluded, but check out that deal. So, does a Christian, born-again, Bible-believing, evangelical, or any type of Christian, do they have to be Republican in the United States? Well, heck no. Politics is not dictated by your faith. However, faith does, could, and should influence your decisions, whether that be who you marry, what kind of job you take, who you vote for, because we vote with our minds, hopefully. Hopefully we're not swayed by the crowd. I grew up a military dependent. My dad was in the Air Force, and my parents have always been conservative Republicans. They were really big on Barry Goldwater in 1960 and 64. So it's probably easier for me to go along with that. I think, anybody that protests too hard about something, sometimes there's like an issue behind that. It's like, oh, really? So I'm independent. I make my own choices. Maybe that's kind of covering up a weakness or a lie. But anyway, so sometimes the cool crowd, depending upon who you're with, they're Democrat, liberal. Sometimes the cool crowd, depending upon who you're hanging out with, is the conservative side. And I know that when you watch this, and if we align along the same page as far as, hey, guess what? I'm a conservative Republican, a conservative politically person. So I've just labeled myself. So sometimes that makes people that are in my camp feel encouraged. Like, oh, there's another one that agrees with me. And if I was, oh man, we've got to do this. We've got to vote Democrat in liberal causes. We got to help the poor and be like Jesus. If I said that and identified myself as a liberal Christian, the Christians that watch this would say, hey, there's another one just like me. Hey, it makes you feel encouraged when people around you agree with you. So let's not ignore that. Let's just acknowledge that. And there's a lot that goes into political decisions. Now, when I went to college at the University of Texas, I got a Bachelor of Arts degree in government. Other colleges would call it political science. So you would think that I would be one of the most political guys out there, with a degree like that. But I'm not, You might call me lazy. So if you come away and you're writing down check marks, okay, Doug's identified himself as a conservative. He's identified himself as lazy. Whatever, go ahead, feel free to. But, I realize that politics is not the only thing in life. It's not the most important thing. Now, one thing I want to encourage everybody in, we look around at this world, it's not just the Western world, it's not just the United States. The United States is a world leader, but political systems all over the world. And if you ever get a chance to travel around the world, do it, man. It'll expand your horizons. When you're like a staunch Baptist, Christians don't dance, and you visit some people in another denomination, another country that dance, and you realize, these aren't evil people. I don't see demons dancing with them. Maybe, there's more to this issue than what I was brought up believing, or my camp. And so, yeah, traveling abroad will expand your horizons, but around the world, people see a lot of divisiveness, and politics get a lot of people arguing with each other. Saturday Night Live even makes skits about, Thanksgiving dinner with your relatives. And it's funny. And I kind of liken politics like sports. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Write that down. Dallas Cowboy fan. So I've got a lot of enemies on the football field. I hate the Steelers. I hate the Packers. I hate the 49ers. I hate the Redskins, the Commanders, the Giants, the Eagles, the Steelers. Man, they robbed us of 2 Super Bowls. Fair and square. They didn't rob us. But anyway, who cares what football team you like? Who cares how you vote? Now, that's just one perspective that adds just a little bit to the conversation. It's not the end-all, be-all, end-all argument. Now, we live in a republic democratic society. A democratic republic is what we live in. And it's a great system. I think it's probably the best political system in the world. There's other systems to pick up and look at and examine and say, well, maybe you could learn a little bit from this one and maybe that. But I think by and large, this experiment that we put on paper on July 4th of 1776 with the Constitution, I think it's been a grand experiment. And you've probably heard it said that there was the French Revolution and U.S. Revolution close to the same time period in history. One failed, the French Revolution failed, if we can say that, concluded it failed, and one succeeded. The one that succeeded was based in, used as a foundation, faith, religion, freedom of religion. The story is that one of the big things we hated about England was the Church of England imposing on us their will when not all of us wanted to be in that denomination. And we wanted freedom of religion. We wanted freedom to practice the religion we chose, which also includes no religion. So atheists have a place in the United States of America. Atheists have a place in our Christian nation. So you could say it's a Christian nation. You can say it's not a Christian nation. It's kind of it's a pro-religious, protective of the religious side nation politically. And that's a good thing because Buddhist, Muslims, Christians, no religion, atheists, you all have a place. We should all be able to get along. And the freedom of religion would not impose restrictions on how you practice your religion. Getting back to the divisiveness we see and the speech from mouths of people on every side. It's kind of mean-spirited, it's divisive, it's kind of ugly, but I want to encourage you, if you're watching this still after all these minutes, that this is nothing new. Political divisiveness has been around a long, long time. Tried to find some really good cartoons from this 1800s. Couldn't find the ones I wanted that pictured Abraham Lincoln like a giraffe and just outrageous caricatures of political figures to really mock, make fun of, deride, and be negative towards the other political candidate. This is nothing new. We've had it for ages. It's kind of bad, and it's kind of like with social media, it feels like it's in our face, and it's gotten combative. There's been times where there's, like on the timeline, little blips of social unrest, Civil War, big unrest, 1960s, some unrest there. So there's times where it gets to be more intense, and it's more intense right now. But we can derive some little bit of peace, I think, just knowing that it's not entirely unusual. This has happened before, and whatever political persuasion we are in, we can get along with others. We need each other. Conservatives need liberals, liberals need conservatives. People on each side will say, there is no stinking way that's the truth. So I grew up with my grandparents referring to Democrats as bleeding heart liberals. And that label kind of put them with a label that basically said they're tugged at their heartstrings by, oh, I feel so bad, whatever it is that cause, and they're led by their feelings and their emotions. And conservatives, on the other hand, and of course this is from their perspective, so it seems as to be the higher ground, more logical, more following common sense than the bleeding heart sad story that not sway. But you know what? As conservatives, we need hearts. We need our hearts to be of flesh, not of stone. And as liberals, if I can speak for liberals, they need some common sense. So we balance each other out. We have two different sides of the aisle, and for years and years we've compromised on political issues, and that's been a good thing. Now there's some issues that are like boiling plate issues, and they're intense. Slavery and the Civil War. This nation went to battle and was divided between North and South over the issue of slaves and people stolen from Africa and brought over here as subversive and servants of slave owners, and it had to be addressed. And abortion is an issue that's a lot like that. If the pro-choice side is right, then the conservative pro-lifers are just being nosy, getting in other people's business, and trying to tell women what to do with their bodies. If the pro-life side of the argument is right, and those are real live human beings, we're talking Holocaust here. We're talking murder and sanitized murder, give it a name like abortion and terminating the pregnancy. If they're right, then this is murder, and this is an emotional issue. And you've got all kinds of factors like, okay, if you're so worried about that child, what about after it's born into an unwanted pregnancy family? What are you going to do then? And, you know, there's lots of pro-life people who put their money where their mouth is, and we can compare checkbooks. And, you know, those of you who support causes like Compassion International or World Vision, you're paying, what, $50 a month now? And you've done that for how many years? Every single month. So the grand total that came out of your checkbook might show that you really do believe in helping unfortunate people that need help, people that are poor. And so that counts. So there's all kinds of sides to a complex issue of politics. I haven't really resolved anything with this video, but hopefully brought some points of consideration to encourage us that we're not alone. This has happened before. We'll get through this. I love the song The Outlaw by Larry Norman, because it kind of portrayed Jesus through a lens of a culture where you realize, you know what, he got involved in some sticky political situations. People tried to trap him from time to time. You know, who do we pay taxes to, the temple or the Romans? And Jesus says, hey, throw me a coin, you know. Whose face is on that coin? Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God's. So he got involved in situations that were set up as traps so they could trap him and try to get him in trouble with Romans or get in trouble with the church. And Jesus was a revolutionary. He treated women as equals and as valued human beings at a time when that wasn't common, like speaking to the woman at the well and speaking to a Samaritan of all kinds of people, not just a woman, but a Samaritan. He really stuck his neck out there, and he's a hero. And he rebelled against some of the common Pharisaical modes of the day. And so we are encouraged. We have, if we live in the United States, if you're watching this video and you're in the U.S., you have the ability to vote and make a change, and vote by your convictions. You know, I'm not going to tell you how to vote, except vote with your convictions. Vote with your faith in what aligns with your moral values. Politics is legislating morality. Murder is wrong because it's wrong, and it's immoral, and it's a bottom line thing we all agree to. And other laws are legislating morals too. And so vote with your heart, with your head, with your convictions. Vote with your faith.